The dimly lit living room of the Connor household was filled with the rhythmic, mournful wailing of little Beverly Rose. Ben sat on the edge of the worn velvet sofa, staring at the baby monitor with a mixture of profound concern and utter bewilderment. Beside him, Darlene remained steadfast, her arms crossed tightly over her chest, projecting an aura of exhausted but firm parental discipline that had been forged through years of trial and error. So, Ben began, his voice strained and barely rising above the infant cries. Are you just going to let little Bev keep crying like that? It feels like we are ignoring a small, very loud siren in our own home. Yes, I am, Darlene replied without blinking, her gaze fixed on the wall. She is learning a very valuable life lesson. It is called crying it out. It is the first step towards self-reliance and emotional fortitude. Ben shifted uncomfortably, the sound of the baby distress tugging at his heartstrings. So, let me get this straight. If I am ever stuck under a heavy fallen log in the middle of a forest, screaming for help at the top of my lungs, are you just going to let me cry it out too? Darlene turned her head slowly to look at him, a ghost of a smirk appearing on her lips. No. First, I am going to laugh. Then, I am going to let you cry it out so you finally learn how to sleep through the entire night while trapped under a log. It is about character building, Ben. That is dark, even for you, Ben muttered, though he could not hide the slight softening of his expression. Look, Becky specifically told us to let herself soothe. It is for her own good. He paused as the crying suddenly stopped, replaced by a profound and sudden silence. Oh, wait. See. It is working. She has found her peace. And she is fast asleep. It has been 1 hour, Darlene noted, checking her watch with clinical precision. She has got to go back to sleep now. She is not a toy that you can just wake up whenever you feel like playing. No, she is not, Ben said softly, his voice dropping into a tender register. She is a powerful, tiny woman whose whole foot can practically fit in my mouth. She is a marvel of biology. Darlene rolled her eyes toward the ceiling. You know, when Becky gets home from her shift and realizes you woke that baby up for a snuggle, you are going to have 1 foot in your mouth and 1 foot upside your posterior. Put the baby back in her crib, Ben. Otherwise, I am going to go sleep on the couch to avoid the inevitable explosion. Oh, but her head smells so much better than your head, Ben countered, leaning in to sniff the infant fine hair. Your beard, on the other hand, currently smells like a bowl of French onion soup. You really want to get into this right now? Darlene asked, though her voice had lost its edge. She looked down at the sleeping child. Oh, you are the best baby in the world. Yes, you are. I want one just like you. The scene shifted the next morning to the local restaurant that the family was frantically preparing to launch. Dan Connor stood in the center of the chaotic kitchen, surrounded by half-unpacked crates and the frantic energy of opening day jitters. Thanks for everything, Dad, Becky said, wiping a bead of sweat from her forehead as she organized the silverware. Without your help, we never would have been able to open these doors tomorrow. You really pulled us through the mud. Dan shrugged his broad shoulders, though a small smile played on his lips. Well, thanks for paying me with a single hug. And I assume I am entitled to a lifetime of free stew as interest? How about a lifetime of free hugs and free stew for exactly 1 week? Becky negotiated with a wink. Sold, Dan laughed. He turned to Dwight, who was fumbling with a large crate of vegetables in the corner. And thank you too, Dwight. You have been a huge help during this transition. No need to fuss over me, Dwight said, looking down at his boots with genuine humility. I am uncomfortable being in the spotlight. I like to be the handmaiden, not the queen. I prefer the shadows of the prep line. You are not sculpting the David, Dwight, Becky barked, pointing at a massive pile of carrots that needed attention. You are chopping vegetables. Barry, chop faster. Chop faster. Just keep the blade moving. Chop. A sudden, sickening thud followed by a sharp gasp silenced the kitchen. Oh, Barry whispered, clutching his hand with a look of pure shock. Oh, good Lord. Oh, put that finger in milk. Becky screamed, her maternal instincts kicking into overdrive. We have a medical emergency, Dan. Can you drive our cook to the hospital immediately? Dan grabbed his heavy ring of keys from the counter. How bad is he bleeding? Is he sitting in the cab of the truck, or do I need to put him in the flatbed? Oh, this is definitely a flatbed situation, Becky groaned, clutching her head as the adrenaline surged. Oh my God. Oh my God. We open in 10 hours, and our only professional chef just partially amputated himself. Becky looked at Darlene in desperation. Becky, you have got to be the chef. You have seen him work. I do not know how to cook for a whole restaurant. Becky cried, her voice rising in panic. Unless you want me to breastfeed the entire lunch crowd, I am at a loss. Ben stepped forward, clearing his throat and adjusting his sleeves. That actually set my mind to wander for a second. But maybe I can help out. I used to do a little cooking back in the day. Darlene looked at him with profound skepticism. Ben, this is not a time to fool around. Do you have real restaurant experience? Because this isn't like grabbing a stray squirrel by the side of the road and cooking it on your carburetor. The carburetor does not get hot enough, Ben corrected calmly, his confidence growing. It is the manifold, and I will have you know, I used to be a chef at Applebee's. I know my way around a professional line. No way. Really? Becky asked, her eyes widening with a glimmer of hope. How come we didn't know that about you? Oh, I think with the hair and the beard, people just assume I am more of a lumberjack than a saucier, Ben said with a shrug. Nobody cares about your aesthetic journey, Custard, Darlene yelled, shoving him toward the stove. Get in the kitchen. Start prepping the stew so it is ready by the morning. Our entire future is in that pot. Is this going to be the kind of restaurant where people say please? Ben asked, reaching for a clean apron. Oh, for God's sakes, please. Darlene screamed at the top of her lungs. Is this going to be the kind of restaurant where people take the name of the Lord in vain? Ben teased. You might want to be the handmaiden, Dan whispered to Darlene, but I am getting all kinds of queen from him right now. Back at the house, the atmosphere turned somber as the sun climbed higher. Dan was sitting at the kitchen table, staring blankly at a crumpled newspaper. Little Beverly Rose was nearby, safely confined to her playpen. Oh, look at the most dangerous baby in the world, Darlene joked as she walked in, trying to lighten the mood. So dangerous that she must be kept away from the populace in a nylon cage. She noticed Dan's grim expression. Let us see where those obituary guys are, huh? Yeah, I always read them hoping that somebody died that I owe money to. Just once, I would like to see a credit card company listed in the deaths. Dan didn't laugh. He didn't even look up. There is somebody in here I actually know. Oh, how much did you owe him? Darlene asked. Are we having leftover pizza crust and eggs for breakfast, or are we going out for a real meal? My father, Dan said, his voice flat and devoid of emotion. The room went quiet. What? Darlene whispered, the humor vanishing. Oh, I am sorry, Dad. Are you okay? Oh, I am fine, Dan said, though his eyes were distant and glassy. I haven't seen the man in 20 years. And based on this notice, I see that trend continuing into eternity. Becky walked in, picking up on the heavy mood instantly. I am sorry about your grandpa, Darlene. How are you doing with the news? Oh, I am okay, Darlene said, leaning against the counter. I mean, he was kind of a deadbeat guy. My dad was young, and then as soon as he had a second family, we never really saw him at all. I mean, I honestly didn't even remember that he was still alive. Cho Din Muoi Jie Truoc. Who was alive? Ben Hoy, coming down the stairs with a laundry basket. Grandpa Ed, Darlene said. He is alive? Ben Hoy, looking surprised. No, Dan said firmly, folding the paper voice Sue Dutt coat. Not anymore. He stood up and walked toward the door, clearly wanting to change the subject. So what the hell happened last night? I get home from work, and Darlene is passed out on the couch, and I found Beverly Rose sleeping on Ben's chest upstairs. Well, Darlene smirked, regaining some of her usual fire. All the crying made Ben's milk come in, so we didn't want to waste it. Oh, I am sorry, Ben said, ignoring the jab voice Sue Ben then. I just wanted the baby to hear a heart that is not made of stone. He looked at the child. Yeah, we are working on our words today. Is it okay if we go downstairs Vahak, Tin Kwamwa Thursday Trong Fong Kong Kong? Knock yourself out, Becky said. But stay away from the top drawer in my nightstand. That is only for Mommy. Once the men were out of earshot, Becky turned to Darlene, her expression becoming serious. Your boyfriend wants a baby. Darlene snorted. Oh, you are out of your pickled alcoholic mind. You know him. He is never around babies, so he just thinks of Beverly Rose as a toy. As soon as he breaks a couple of parts off, he will lose interest. I don't know, Becky said, pointing toward the door where the muffled sounds of cooing could be heard. Let us check in on them, shall we? They crept to the doorway and peered in. Ben was whispering softly to the baby. Uncle Ben worries that you are lonely, little Rose, and that maybe you could use a little cousin to play with in the near future. Becky crossed her arms and looked at Darlene. It is a special burden being right all the time. This is crazy, Darlene whispered, her panic rising like a tide. He has never said anything about wanting a baby before. This is not the deal. You need to talk to him, Becky insisted. You cannot let this fester. Yeah, I will, but this is stupid. I mean, even if I wanted one, he knows I am like one tram toy. My biology is historical. Hey, Becky joked, you might still have a couple of pterodactyl eggs rolling around in that prehistoric room of yours. All right, I guess I deserve that for all the jokes I made about your wrinkled uterus, Darlene sighed. You said my cervix was where they filmed Golden Girls, Becky reminded her. Back at the restaurant, the first batch of opening day stew was bubbling away. Dan took a large spoonful of Anam Matlai. Jiminy Cricket on a cracker, this is good. Ben, you took Sukhothai Nong Day. Well, you feel like you got this? Becky Hoy Ben, checking the clock. You bet, Ben said, though his face was a shade paler than usual. Because it is opening day, and just remember, you are the only thing standing between me and sleeping on the street. And it is not just me. It is Becky and her baby, and I am pretty sure we are on the hook for a prosthetic finger for Barry. I put every dime I have got into this place. It is all on you, buddy. Go get him. Okay, Ben whispered to himself, taking a deep breath. As the lunch rush began to build, Dan prepared to leave the premises. Hey, Dad, where are you going? Darlene Hoy. Somebody called me to bid on a small job. Dan lied, avoiding her eyes. Can it wait? Darlene Hoy. Your dad just died, Dan. It takes time to process something of that magnitude. You are right, Dan said, his hand on the doorknob. They are processed. Inside the kitchen, Ben was hitting a wall. Darlene found him staring blankly at a pot of boiling water. Men are all over the map, she sighed. My dad buries all his emotions under a mountain of drywall, and you giggle like a pothead watching SpongeBob whenever you are with the baby. She took a deep breath. Chuan by Cho Kuok Doi Thoai. Becky actually thought, and you're going to love this, that you want to have a baby with me. Come on, laugh Kung MD. Wouldn't you love to have a baby? Ben didn't laugh. He stood perfectly still. God, no, they are soul-sucking monsters. Okay, I can see you are on the fence, Darlene said, her voice dropping mot quang tam. Ben, I am broke. I have already got 2 kids, and we are trying to start a business. This is literally the worst possible time in the history of the world. Well, you know, Ben said, finally turning to face her. 10 years from nay, Kai Chung Ta Hoi Han Vi De Kong Lam Du Se La Thoi Diem Toi Ti Han. I am willing to live with your future regrets, Darlene snapped. Come on, Ben pleaded, his eyes searching hers. We would have a great baby. A baby that is half me and half you. It would be smart and funny and whatever else you bring to the table. It would be ours. Why are you dropping this bomb on me now? Darlene Hoy. Well, I guess I always knew I wanted a baby. It is Chi La Bai Gio Chung Tata Quay Lai Voy now. Vamwa Thursday Dang Dien Ra Tuet Voy. Vit Ko Mot Duakan Se Lam Cho No Tat Dp Han Yu. It feels like the missing piece. That just proves you know nothing about how hard it is to raise a kid, Darlene said, her voice trembling. I mean, you have never been dog-tired because the baby won't sleep, or worried out of your mind because you have never seen a fever that high. And then there is all the emotional stuff. When they're crying their eyes out because they were bullied or they weren't invited to the cool party. Well, Ben said Voy Nu Koi Tu Tin, since it is half my kid, it is definitely getting invited to the cool parties. Ben, I love you, Darlene said, her eyes moist. I chi kong the lamb lied you do. I cannot go back to the beginning. Okay, Ben said quietly, his heart sinking. Can't we just talk about it more? I am sorry, Ben. I am done. I can't go back. Meanwhile, Dan arrived at a dilapidated house on the outskirts of town. He knocked on the weathered door. Come on in. Mot Jong Noi Vang Len Tu Ben Trong. But if you are selling something, we probably already have it. Dan stepped inside Varung Min. The house was a labyrinth of hoarded newspapers, old electronics, and layers of filth. A young man appeared to Sao Chung Thung Go. Wow. Hey, Dave Connor, on Goi Tua Vi Song Vik Lam Vok, Thatch Chow Ah? Nu Doi Dan Ong Hoi. Yeah, I am Ed. On Ta Nin Quan Dong Lon Exon. Did your cleaning lady take the week off? Or is she somewhere underneath all this rubble? Funny guy, Dan said, Zhang Lanlong. It was my dad's house, and he just died. Yeah, he was all screwed up toward the end. He was living in this mess. I am sorry. Nu doi tan nian noi. Dukan ko hoi am trong jong noi. On jia di, on tro nun hoi ky quack. Tua kogao sansao. Tua chua bao gio gi min esi la nu oi du. No, I know what kind of guy you are. Bro, Dan said. The young man's smile vanished instantly. Is there a problem? On ko vi hoi buck boi doi voi mot na thou day. I have every right to be, Dan, nu boi tan nian oi. I am Ed's son. Ed Jr. Got it now? Big bro. Dan Dung Hin. Whoa. Lil Ed, the koang hai muoi nam roy. Tai sa ka kong noi voi twa ju du qua dine thoi? Because I knew you wouldn't come if you knew who I was. Ed Jr. spat. Vive, twa quiet din fu kitch on tam chi kong kong beat bo chung tao bai ben. Trong kai on song kuok doi vo tu qua min. Chi twa va twa da bo roy moi Thursday de cham soc. Ong cho din gaong qua doi ma kong ko gi trong te. Dan nin quan goi na de rac. Looks like he died voi moi Thursday. What do you want from me, Ed? Dan hoi. Twa kong ko du tien de sua, cho nai de bon. On se jup twa sua no. On no twa. I do not owe you a damn thing. Dan roared. Zhang vang qua dong du see you. I do not owe him a damn thing. Ong ta la motga toi ti de doi, su voi twa vami twa nu rac ruoi ca doi. That is exactly what my dad said you would say. Ed Jr. countered. Byuk lai gon. Bao twa on la kadoi, tra va chi quan tom den ban then. He must have been looking in the mirror when he said that. Dan noi. Oh, really? If you're such a great guy, how come you never even tried once to get in touch with him or me? Twadalam. Twadalam. Dan het len. Onta dung lai, nin dong lon exon. I gotta hand it to the old man. Kong ai ko the bon mot dong rac gioi hanong ta. Ka beat gi kong. Twa kong cam thay bat siu ju gi kai beat ong ta chet. Bai gio twa cam thay ka on vid you do. Ed Jr. Byuk toy. Katat not nin gam ming lai hope twa sin gam no cho ka. Are you threatening me? Dan hoi. Vok dong du so qua ong bao trum lay nuoi tan nian. Boy vi twa ko the dan ka ganuoi voi koang tam, Thursday trong tam te. That is true old times, Ed Jr. said, vong vai. Bring it. On dan voa, on tot not nin jai dong ta. Dan nin cham cham veo nu im kung cha kok, mi quam min mot luke lao. Roy tho hadare met moi. Not worth it. I didn't think so, Ed Jr. sneered. Ka beat gi kong. Dan noi, grabbing mot cheek lo 6 song tu dong du. Twice late si lo 6 song nai vi ka dang lang fi thoi john qua twa. Ka kan tat ca kak hung dan tv ben trong. Back at the restaurant, qua bep by qua tu ben trong. Dwight. Mo qua are. Becky het len, dap veo go. Go away, Jackie. I can't talk to you nai Luke nai. On taveno trong dua? Darlene hoi. Sud hien sao lung Becky voi vi lo lang. Nu chung ta kong don ta now and som. Moi nu oyasi bat dao roi di va chung ta si kong. Dua hotaro lai duak. Thanks for the tip. Bac fei qua and hung ju hien neen. Becky gat gong. Darlene go qua nain hang. Let me try. Dwight, Jackie D. Roy. Chi and gi dang zarave. I got the jitters. Jong noi engen gao qua Dwight Vang Lin. Kovi nu sap cock. What is that? Darlene hoi. Twa dang du mo hoi. Tim twa dap thin tick. Va twa kim thay nu min sap chet. Ka beat day. Su lo lang. It is a panic attack. Darlene noi voi Becky. Okay. MRA fia truok d. Chi lo lu duok. Don't make me go out there. Becky t tam. No dang tro nin toi ti. Chung twa de trang by cho ho nia va dao. Darlene dua veo qua. Dwight. Dwight. Ko the ka kong beat du nai. In hung twa tung la huan lian vien kuok song chien en geep, so mot qua Lanford. Va qua dao tau lam song qua, twa la vi su lo lang. Okay. Okay. Truok tien, chung ta se lam ka bin tin lai. Twa muon ka hit mot hoi non. Sao du la mot hoi tho ra that die. Mot hoi tho run ray vang len tu fia ben kia. Good good. Ka teep tuc lam the d. Bye geo, Dwight. Chi and gi dang zara. I don't think I can do this job, Dwight thought fit. Tai saw. Moi Thursday twanim Thursday, cho din ne du rat to et voy. It is not the cooking, Dwight and oi. It is the baseball. Of course it is, Darlene though die. Twada lo lang ca doi men. Bong chai lai mot loi thot, cho den kai twa veo kak, jai dao no. Twa lai mot ka Thursday nim bong, cho Midland Rockhounds. Va twa gioi den muc hoda len lich, cho twa nim bong veo gay kai mak. Okay, na hong dang sup du ben nagwai. And hung teep tucd, Darlene tuk juk. Truok trandao, nuoi quan lynoi. Mon nuoi du fu thuok veo ka. Dao oc twa bat dao kwe kwang. Vasadu kai ko noi. Tatsie latui thuok veo ka. Twa bat dao ko kim jiak tuong tu. Oh Dwight. Twa hiroi. No, 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 though rad. Dwight, Dwight, though ra Dwight. Ka dang tuong min dang, o tren mot by bien. No yin tin, ka mot min, va kong ai can bat siu ju gi tu ka. Becky zong veo tu fia sao. Moi nu joy dang roy di. Chung ta dang cheto day Jackie. We are on a private beach, Becky. Darlene het lai. Ka muon gi. Later that evening, Dan kwe lai na hong. Ong fei ed junior dang doi ben nagwai. Dan lo te veo tue va le ra mot zap ga. Twada vi koang doi john kui jia kwa jia din ma chung ta dan cho now hamne. Dan and oi. Va twa no ra twa ko mot Thursday o na ma twa luan muon dua cho ka. Mugoi la Thursday twada viet cho ka va chi gai ka. Tatsie du duak gue din goi na koi kung ma kak nuoi do o. Tatsie du by tra lai voi dong chu kong fi jechi nai duak viet trendu. Ed Junior Cam lay and hung la Thursday. Matt look qua and hung fong bi. On nanare net chu chu. Dan hoi. Yeah. Twado no jong qua bo twa. Ti sa? Ong I muon chia ri chung ta. Dan and oi ki. Twada bo roy ong I v and hung gi ong I de lam voi twa. And hung twa chua bao gio muon bo roy ka. Ed Junior nin suang san na.